Welcome, everybody. I'm Irene Pasternack, teaching Feldenkrais with Northwest Parkinson's. And today is going to be a fun lesson having to do with voice, swallowing, congestion in the throat, and posture, all mixed together. So it's a lesson that can be done lying down or sitting. So if you really enjoyed the experience last week of lying down to do the lesson, feel free to lie down. Wait just a minute before you go lie down, but that's an option, but it's absolutely fine to do it in sitting as well. And to start, I've muted everybody, and I would like you to sing happy birthday. We're all good at this right now, right? Doing it every time we wash our hands, but go ahead and sing happy birthday and just hear and feel what your voice feels like to you as you sing. Nobody can hear you, so don't worry about it. Sing out loud. And how much of your body knows you were singing or are singing? You might sing another phrase to go, where does my body know that I'm singing? Okay. And then try a swallow. See what swallowing feels like this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. And a yawn. Oh, yawn, see if it's contagious over Zoom. And open your mouth really slowly and just check in with the quality of that movement. Is it a straight open? Does it have a little wiggle side to side? Is it easy for a little bit and then it gets harder if you want to open it further? And then imagine that you were a snowman. And so there's a ball of snow for your hips and pelvis, and a ball of snow for your chest, and a ball of snow for your head. Just notice where the head ball is in relationship to the chest ball and the pelvis ball. Is your head in front a little and back a little off to one side or the other? What are the sensations that you use in order to assess where your head ball is on your body? And then with your eyeballs, look up on a diagonal to one side, and then look down on that diagonal. So whichever way you choose, you look up one way and down the other. Just feel how heavy or light that movement feels in your eyeballs. Is it easy? Is it hard? And then compare it to the movement if you go the other diagonal. It's the easiest to do with your eyes closed to really feel the sensation. It's funny how usually one diagonal is much, much easier than the other. Okay. And then open your mouth again and think skeletally for a moment. Where is the joint? Where are the two joints that let you open your mouth? You could put your fingers very gently in front of your ears, just resting lightly like you're petting a butterfly, and open your mouth. And find the two joints there. And see if one of them is the dominant joint. Is one easier to feel? Does it open a little before the other one? And then take your hands away and open your mouth. And in your sensation, when you're just feeling it, again, close your eyes because you can sense it more. Can you sense one jaw joint more than the other one? right. So we will get started with some strange movements in this class. Be gentle with yourself. If something doesn't feel good, do it smaller, do it slower. And you can always take rests when I invite them or when you just feel ready for a rest. So begin to take the tip of your tongue and I'm going to wait for that one for a sec. Just open your jaw halfway. Okay, and then once it's there, move it left and right. Is it easier to move your jaw left or right? And is your head moving? For now, you keep your head still and move your jaw. And then, what could you do with your head to make it easier to move your jaw left and right? Is it easier if you move your head with your jaw a little bit? Or if you move your head opposite your jaw? And take the tip of your tongue and put it to the middle of your upper lip. And then bring it back to rest in the bottom of your mouth. And do that a few times. You touch your upper lip and bring your tongue back in. What happens with your jaw? Your lower jaw, does it move as you touch your lip and bring it back? There's a way that the lower jaw can move a little forward as you touch your lip. So many of us hold our lower jaw really tight. And so we're looking at how do we let go of some of that tension. And see, is there anything you can do with your neck or your chest that makes it easier to touch your middle of your upper lip? And let's play with a movement we did a week or two ago of putting your hands up as if you had scooped up some water in your hands and trying to drink out of your hands by licking with your tongue. So it's kind of a scoop. You go forward, down, and up. Okay. Good. You can feel how that gets your chest moving, your weight's changing on your sit bones. There are parts of that movement where the back of your neck is short and parts of that movement where the back of your neck is long. Okay. And then try after that now touching your tongue to your middle of your upper lip again. And see if there's just the tiniest echo of that drinking water movement. You might press a little forward with your chest. Your neck might change shape. Okay. Rest for a moment. And then take your tip of your tongue to the right corner of your mouth. And what can you do with your lower jaw to make that easier? Is there a way that by opening your mouth and your chin moving over a little bit, it makes it easier to touch the tongue to the right corner? And notice what your eyes are doing. This is going to be easiest to notice if you close your eyes. But are your eyes, even when they're closed, staring straight ahead as your tongue goes to the right corner of your mouth? Or are your eyes going over to the right? And if you try taking your eyes to the right as you touch your tongue to the right, is it easier if you look up a little with your eyes or look down a little with your eyes to the right? Or is it easier if your eyes look to the left when your tongue goes to the right? And if you're doing this opposite movement, notice the return trip. So your eyes go left and your tongue goes right, and notice when both get to the middle on the way back. Do they arrive at the same moment, or does one lead the way? And then, not thinking about what you're doing, not thinking about what's right or wrong, just take the tip of your tongue to the corner of your right mouth, the right corner, and just see what your body does. And open your mouth and see if there's open it slowly and see if there's a different feeling as you on the right and the left. Okay. Begin to do the same movement, turning your whole head to the right. So you touch your lip to your tongue to the corner when your head rolls right. And then turn your head to the left while your tongue goes right. And see if you're holding your breath when you do this. So your head goes left while your tongue goes right. See if you can breathe while you do that. Okay. And open your mouth again, just in the middle. See if there's a different left and right. And check in with your breathing. Take a breath in and see if the breath is going in the same way, left and right. Or if there's a little bit more openness on one side of your body. And when you're breathing, do your sit bones receive your breath the same way? Or does somehow when you breathe in, does it connect more with one sit bone? And then let's begin to even this out a little bit. So take the tip of your tongue to the left corner a few times to see what that's like right now. And do it and come back, do it and come back. And begin to experiment with your eyes and your head. So your eyes can go the same way as your tongue or opposite. And your head can go the same way as your tongue or opposite. And then open your jaw a little bit and take your tongue left and right. So one corner to the other corner. And how much of you knows you're moving your tongue left and right? Your jaw moves a little. Do your shoulders know it? Is there some sensation inside your chest of a little bit of pressure going left and right? And perhaps on your sit bones. Do the two sides feel the same, or is one easier? Okay, rest for a moment. We're going to take our tongue to the top of the upper lip in the middle and then slide it to the right corner and back. Like you're licking just one quarter of your lips on the top right. And as you do that, what does your jaw do? Your eyes, your head, your neck? Does one shoulder move a little backwards? Does one sit bone move around in your chair? And then take the tongue to the left side on the top. Sensing what's different on this side. What do you feel deep at the base of your tongue and your throat when you do that? And then put your tongue on your lower lip and go to the left. And then on the left, go from the top in the middle to the lower, to the corner, to the lower lip, and feel what feels different in your tongue when you're doing the lower left and the upper left. The tongue might feel fatter on one side and thinner on the other, on the top or the bottom. And then try that on the right side. And then make a circle all the way around your mouth with your tongue. And feel how your jaw responds to the circle. If there's a little change in pressure in your sit bones and your ribs. And go the other direction. And as always, it's the sensation that matters more than the movement, of trying to just sense any little resonance in the rest of your body as you're moving. All right, rest for a moment and sense the space in your mouth. Your sense of your tongue, of how long your tongue is, where's the back of it, where's the front of it. And we're going to begin making an L sound by touching the roof of our mouth with the tongue. And you say the L as long as you're exhaling, so it might sound something like oh. So go ahead and try that. You can be loud, nobody can hear you. Oh, and play with the pitch of it. You could make a high ooh or a low ooh, and see which is the most comfortable pitch that makes you feel like that L is just as clear as it could be, that ooh sound. And keep your tongue there even when you breathe in. So your jaw can be open, your tongue on the roof of your mouth as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, make that ooh sound. How wide can you open your mouth without straining, with your tongue still touching the roof of it? Oh. And then explore what happens if you try to close your mouth when you make this L sound with the tongue on the roof of your mouth. You can think about the space around your teeth, but all right. Take a break for a moment. Now you can make an L sound by, in a strange way, by putting your tongue on the middle of your upper lip. So touch the top of your mouth to the tongue, your lip to the tongue, your tongue to the lip, and try and make a ol sound. Ol. It's a funny sounding ol. And play with the back of your mouth down in your throat to see if you can make it sound better. And this might be something to do with whether you straighten the back of your neck or you tilt your head back. If I try this with my head tilted back, oh, it's kind of like everything gets stuck in my throat. But if I imagine the feather coming out of the top of my head and the back of the neck, like somebody's lifting me so that I'm dangling from my head, oh, it becomes more possible to do it. It's a kind of a tucking in the chin feel. Just experiment. What's it like when your head is tipped backward, and what's it like when your chin is tucked in? So the tongue on the lip. Oh. Okay, let that go. And move your tongue to the right corner of your mouth and back to the center. And do this while you're making that weird L sound. It'll sound really funny. And you'll find that the pitch changes and the resonance changes a little depending on where your tongue is. So you're looking for the sensation of vibration in this L as you move your tongue from the middle to the right side. Breathe in when you need to. And just explore that. Always looking for what can you do to get the most resonance in your voice box, in the back of your throat. And then try the same thing going to the left with the tongue. So the tongue goes from the middle of the top lip to the corner and back while you try to say, oh. Kind of reminds me of gargling with salt water when I try this as it goes over to the side. Really feeling for different positions of your tongue, what it does to the resonance. Okay. And let that go. Now, everybody stand up if you would. And just shift your weight a little bit from one foot to the other. See which way is easier to shift your weight today. And then begin to slide your tongue from the one corner of your mouth to the other while you make that L sound. And notice if what's happening as you listen to that sound with your ears. So when your tongue is on one corner, which ear do you hear it better with? The same side ear or the other ear? And try to stop your tongue in the center of your lower lip. Sorry, the tongue on the lower lip as you're doing this. So stop the tongue in the middle where you hear it the same way on both sides. So where you make the sound even in both your ears. This is a new way for how to find middle for when the sound is the same. And as you're going back and forth with your tongue across your lower lip, making that ul sound, notice how much you open or close your jaw, how much space there is in your mouth, how your head is on top of your spine. Is your snowball moving a little left and right or forward and back as you do this? And play with the range of your voice. How high an L sound can you make? How low an L sound in the different positions? And feel, what do you do in your chest to make a high sound or a low sound in this L? And then rest for a minute. Just stay in standing, walk a few steps if you'd like. And then touch the middle of your lower lip with your tongue. Tuck your chin in a little bit and find the most resonance possible. And when you find that spot where you've got the most resonance you can, that L sound is, oh, it gets richer. Begin to slide your tongue backwards in your mouth to rest behind your lower teeth. So your tongue goes from the tip of your, from the middle of your lip, back behind your lower teeth. So each breath, start with your tongue on your lip and pull it back in, trying to lengthen the back of your neck, tuck your chin a little, find that place of resonance. And then rest. You can rest in sitting or standing or walking, whatever you choose. And then if you're comfortable standing, stay standing. If you'd rather sit, that's okay too. Do that same movement, the tongue from the lower lip behind the teeth, but when the tongue gets back, make an sound. So it would be something like that. We sound different as we do it. But the L goes to the And try and do it a little faster, bringing your tongue from your lip to behind your teeth faster. Feeling what's happening in the back of your throat, but trying to sustain the sound. So you can do it fast, but still let that sound come out. And rest for a moment. And then make a regular L sound with your tongue on the top of your mouth, the ul. And while you're doing it, slide your tongue a little forward and a little backward. And feel how there's a place where the sound feels the most focused, the most powerful somehow, as you slide your tongue forward and backward on the top of your mouth. And see if you can get better and better at finding that focus place. Some of the places you'll feel that nice sense of opening down your throat, and some of the places not. And just looking to get good at finding that focus place. And when you've got that nice focus, you start with an L, with the ul sound, and then open to an ah vowel. So la. And then make the worst la sound you can. What can you do with your neck, with your chest, with your breathing to make it a really not very nice la sound? La. And then go back to what do you do to make it the most delightful la sound, so that if you were up in front of a group and you sang that la, they would go, oh yes, there's a beautiful song coming. Your best beautiful song. And trying to keep that openness as the ah goes on and on for the duration of your breath. And then begin to play with it with an eh sound. So le. And feel how la and le are different in your vocal cords and your throat. And then play with E, so li. Feel what your lips do to do that E sound, li. And play with how do you make that sound as pleasant as you can. And then an oo sound. So a loo, loo. Playing with where's the good focus for loo. And rest in walking or sitting. And then sing your happy birthday song. And swallow, see what swallowing is like. Could you track what your tongue is doing when you're swallowing? If you try and keep your tongue very still and swallow, it kind of things get a little stuck. That there's a forward and back movement. And then open your mouth slowly and feel what it's like to open your mouth. See if it's opening a little bigger than it was before. And with your eyeballs, look on the diagonals. See if they've gotten easier. And you can play with the diagonals the same way we played with the ol sound. If you jut your jaw out a little and then try the diagonals, see what that feels like. So the back of your neck is short. Or if you make the back of your neck very long, does that change your diagonals if you tuck your chin in a little bit? And how's your sense of your snowman shape, of where your head is in relationship to the ball of your chest and the ball of your pelvis? Left, right, front, back. So there's something about that, bringing the chin in a little and pressing back with the back of the neck, that does something to the voice and the posture there. Then go for a little walk. See what walking feels like after this, especially your sense of where your tongue is when you're walking. And try making an ol sound with nice focus as you walk. So the tongue up on the roof of your mouth, looking for the place on the roof of your mouth where you have the most resonance. And is it easier or harder to keep the back of your neck long when you're walking? And then, not making a sound, does your tongue move in your mouth as you're walking? Does it go a little left and right? Do you leave it right in the middle? And let's do a little experiment walking. For those of you who are comfortable walking, take your tongue very gently in between your teeth on one side or the other. So it's like your teeth are holding your tongue still, but be gentle, and if this is hard, you could just touch your teeth on the side and walk with your tongue over on that side and see if it makes you limp in a funny way. And then try your tongue on the other side. And then think about something else. Think about the last 4 digits of your phone number for a moment. And then walk and notice, where's your tongue in your mouth by default? Do you have a habit of putting it over to the left or over to the right? Up toward the top or up toward the bottom? And then come and sit down by your computer again. And I'd love to hear some of your thoughts, your experiences in the lesson. I want to hear your voices and hear what it sounds like as you talk afterwards. So you'll need to unmute yourself if you want to say something. Cindy.
I noticed when I was turning one way, sound comes from, there was two sides of sound. And I could feel how I used one side, and of course, it's my left side that wasn't making any sounds, but there's a diagonal here that whenever I do something on the right, whether it's my tongue or my eyes, I could open up this part here.
So you could open up the quiet side.
And then I was getting post-nasal drip on that side. Yeah, I don't use both sides. I use kind of like one or the other.
And when you use one side or the other, that's part of what gives the scratchy voice. And so that sense of finding both of them helps with the voice projection.
Yeah.
But it's also related to balance. Because the voice box has to be supported by the rest of us in order to have that resonance. Yeah. Joan.
The happy birthday was different from one time to the other. It came out the first time, all different sounds. And second time, it's smooth.
I had the experience that I wouldn't be as embarrassed to sing happy birthday. I've never thought I had a good voice, but I sounded a lot like I could keep my pitch better at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see the next party that you're at where you have to sing happy birthday. You kind of play with your tongue a little bit in your mouth and play with that ol sound before you sing it. But it is amazing how the quality of our voice can change, and the quality of the openness in the throat by increasing the brain's communication of where is my tongue, and giving it some options that aren't its usual habits. Yeah. Someone else had their hand up. Marilyn.
It made my sinuses clear out.
This lesson is a great one. If your sinuses are feeling heavy and plugged, it just makes them drain. Anything that moves the lips, the palate, the jaw, the nose around will do that. And it's nice to know that some, like it gives you another technique for managing sinuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carol.
I'm trained as a speech pathologist. It was interesting to think about when I was teaching kids how to say the L sound and the different sensations in my mouth. One thing I noticed about me this time was the gravelly sound in my voice went away, but also I got a lot of saliva buildup on one side. So that was interesting.
So you had more saliva buildup in one side than the other as you did this. And do you have trouble with excess saliva or not enough saliva?
I would say excess. Not all the time, but when I'm reading out loud, a lot of times the saliva will build up.
So it'd be interesting. Did swallowing get a little bit easier?
Yeah, swallowing.
Yeah.
It did.
Because part of the dealing with the saliva is the comfort in swallowing. And it's like when you're in the dentist's office and they're holding your mouth in a funny position, you just can't swallow the saliva. It's like hard to force that down. And just subtle differences of where your head is on your neck then make it easier. And to have the tongue be able to do that forward and back motion that's necessary in swallowing.
Mm-hmm.
So your training in speech pathology will serve you well as you're dealing with Parkinson's symptoms. Just pretend you're one of your own kids.
Yeah.
This lesson that I taught today was put together by Richard Courbet, who is a Feldenkrais practitioner and voice teacher, and he specializes in working with the vocal cords and with singers. But it's just fun to it's a part of our body we take for granted unless we've had a problem there. And by increasing that specificity in our brain of how it works, it allows us to keep maintaining the quality of our speech and our comfort with swallowing. And
I noticed that when I was doing it, it took me several tries to even come close to making any sound and improve.
Anybody else find that it took a couple tries before, like, how do I do this? I know I found that, and some of the sounds, they came out so squished in my throat, like, so that there was no sound, and then, oh, I guess I do stick my chin forward than I thought I did. And that sense of, but that experimentation and the curiosity and the even looking for a possibility is what is changing your brain so that it can happen more automatically, even when you're not thinking about it. Colleen.
I want to say Bruno is standing in for Andrew this morning, but it's we're an hour earlier than Pacific, so we have daylight till 11 o'clock at night. So mornings are kind of slow here. Anyway, it reminded me of this. I worked in radio, and they used to do warm-ups, the radio on-air people, and also a baby in a high chair, you know, goes through all this so much. It's kind of interesting that they naturally, as they're developing speech, do all these things. And we tell them to stop a lot of times.
With the baby, it's that experimentation that allows them to then mimic sounds. Because if you don't have a wide range of possibilities, then you don't find what you're looking for. I know when I work with kids with special needs and kids with speech problems, we get this playfulness going in the mouth, and then everything else just happens. And the other thing that with kids with special needs that we work on is the organization of the lower back so that they are upright, so their vocal cords are supported. If I sit back in my chair and kind of slouch, you can hear my voice gets a little choked up in there. But that sitting forward that we play with in every lesson allows the tube to come through. It'd be fun if you have any of those vocal warm-ups from the radio station. Do you know any of them, Colleen? Like, could you teach us one?
Well, it was funny because we had a voice coach from LA come and work with the on-air people, and some of them had pretty bad habits, and she gave each one of them a different lesson to practice. But the one I remember was particular guy, she told him to say fuzzy bunny, fuzzy bunny, fuzzy bunny. And kind of, he was not a fuzzy person. And I think it kind of gave him this looseness and warmth that he didn't have before. But that was the one I remember, was fuzzy bunny.
I'm going to mute everybody again for a moment and try after today's lesson saying fuzzy bunny and feeling what can you do with where your head is over the length of the back of your neck, whether your chin's forward or back, and see what it does to fuzzy bunny. Try it with different pitches. Try saying it with a high squeaky voice or a low deep voice. Try saying it with your teeth and lips closed. Or just your teeth closed. Or just your lips closed, but your teeth open inside. Or with your tongue between your teeth. So if you're having one of those days where your sinuses are clogged, your throat is feeling scratchy and congested, fuzzy bunny is a great way to play with just variations on fuzzy bunny. Or if you can get the L sound, even better, because there's something about that tongue going up and the tongue mobility in the mouth for the L sound. What's a good phrase that has some L's in it? All right. Any other comments about today's lesson? All right, I'm gonna call, oh, I've got some things in the chat that I haven't noticed. Ah, from Mira, that's an important announcement.
So we have the, I think some of you were in the waiting room before, but please on Friday, go to eventbrite.com and register for your free Hope Conference this year, which is on traditional Western medicine. And you can email me if you have any problems registering. I'll be happy to help you. We would love to have you. Once you register, you'll have access to all the webinars, and they are not live. So you'll be able to watch them at your convenience whenever you want. If you want to watch them next week or this week or over the next year, you'll just have access to all of them.
I love it. I think the Hope Conference online has some real benefits over the Hope Conference in person, because you don't have to sit down for 6 hours straight to listen to it. You can get up, you can take a break, you can watch one a day. You can take care of your own body as you're learning. I love the Hope Conference, but sometimes it's just like too much sitting.
It's a lot of sitting, and we're trying to keep it as much like a regular Hope Conference that some of you have been to. So we'll have like an exhibit hall that you can, have, and there'll be movement groups, which Irene is one of the people who has done a wonderful presentation there. But you'll have access to wonderful medical presentations from Dr. Pinky Agrawal, I think Dr. Aldred, there's Dr. There's just so many, and there's like 5 or 6 of them that you're really going to enjoy this video. So please do register.
I don't know if all of you use the chat function in Zoom, but down in the bottom of your screen, there's a little icon with a thought bubble and the word chat. And if you click that, you'll get the link in the chat, and you could just right now click it and go ahead and, as soon as the meeting ends, just register for the conference. But that's the easiest way, because that link is right there for you.
I'm happy to email you that link if you just want me to, if any of you are having issues, and I'll be happy to email you that link.
Are the exhibit halls live?
Everything is pre-recorded because we didn't want any technical issues on the day, so everything will be pre-recorded. But if you have any questions for any of the people in the exhibit halls, then you just shoot me an email and I'll get it to them and get you an answer back.
Alrighty, well, I'll see you all on Thursday.
Thank you, bye.
A couple days, bye.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.